So we've talked about uncovered interest parity in a separate video, where the fact that a foreign investment is more attractive than the domestic investment, taking into account the exchange markets, will tend to have an effect on investors that will eat away some of the profits associated with these differential returns. So in doing so, we developed this idea of uncovered interest parity. Now, covered interest parity is a very similar concept, which essentially compares the two assets using forward markets, which are contracts. There's much less uncertainty associated with this comparison. And broadly speaking, covered interest parity holds very, very tightly. So in this particular example, we've got US and the UK as the two comparison countries. US paying 10% in dollars, the UK bond paying 5% in pounds. The particular example that we've been using is a current spot rate of $1 per pound, or £1 per dollar. And then we're pulling out of the air a contract price for forward dollars or pounds of $2 per pound. Now, that's another way of saying that banks believe that the dollar will depreciate in value over this time frame, and so their willingness to buy pounds or dollars is going to reflect that. So this $2 per pound is reflects an underlying belief in the markets that the currency will, the dollar will fall in value. Now, given these numbers, we came up with a situation where the UK investment was more attractive than the American investment. And all this was guaranteed. Now, I won't go through the details of how I got this equation, that's in another video, but using the forward market, this is a guaranteed return on the UK investment using these numbers, which exceeds the guaranteed return on US investment. So for an American, they would prefer to buy UK versus US bonds. Now, we can also write this same equation as in this form, which is much more frequently used, where this is the forward discount or premium on dollars. This is the UK investment. This is the US investment. And if this part is positive, so that the contract price for future delivery for dollars exceeds the current, then that means that the dollar is selling at a forward discount. And so in this example, we have these inequalities going this way, where the UK investment is more attractive than the US investment. Now, in the previous video on uncovered interest parity, we talked about the effect on the spot market, the US bond market, the UK bond market. And let me just review those briefly. The Americans flooding into the foreign exchange market to buy British pounds today in order to take advantage of the higher returns on the UK investment will tend to depreciate the US dollar today. So E, the number of dollars it takes to buy a pound, goes up. So there's a depreciation of the dollar today. So E will tend to go up. And I'm going to actually rewrite this to make this a little bit clearer. So just to, this is the same equation. So I've just written this percentage in a different way. So E is tending to go up, the current appreciation. As we talked about in the other video, the U.S. bond market will see a reduction in the demand for U.S. bonds, and the U.S. interest rates will rise because borrowers need to make the U.S. bond more attractive, or nobody's going to buy the bond. And we have the UK interest rate tending to fall because there's this very high demand for the UK bond by Americans who are trying to take advantage of this opportunity. Now, what happens to the contract price? Okay. EF. What you have is lots of Americans who are contracting for the delivery of dollars in the future. They are going to come with pounds from their UK investment and return those dollars in those pounds into dollars in the future. This increase in the demand for dollars in the future is going to tend to pull EF down. Okay, dollars are going to be more expensive in the forward market because lots of Americans are coming to buy dollars with the pounds that they received. Now, all of these effects, E going up, EF going down, interest rate in the UK going down, tends to make this left-hand side smaller. The U.S. interest rate going up tends to make the right-hand side bigger. Now, this will continue. This process will continue until these things are equal. This covered interest parity will result in the assets across the borders being equally attractive to investors. And that will bind together these financial markets in a profound way. And if this doesn't hold in the short term, then people can easily get riskless profits by taking advantage of these differentials. So this is there's strong pressures for this to hold, for covered interest parity to hold for equally risky assets, same maturity. Okay, so this is covered interest parity, again, linking financial markets across borders. Interest rates very much linked, and both the current exchange rate, the spot market, and the forward market play an important role in equating these asset returns